The main aim of the organization was to rebuild European economic and assure their security. For this, yes, sure.
Han recurrido a la medicina natural. Y también comentó de que los temas de coronavirus en la India son muy bajos y que definitivamente es un convencido de que tanto la medicina tradicional como la medicina natural tienen que ir de la mano. Eso es a grandes rasgos, eso es lo que está comentando, y posiblemente dentro de la medicina natural hay plantas similares con las de Latinoamérica que de repente tienen diferentes nombres y que son de mucho uso en su país. Let's continue, Dr. Akhilesh. Doctor?
Yes, yes, yes. I got it. I got it. Hmm. Yeah, that NATO required a massive influx of aid to help the war-torn landscape re-establish industries and produce food, and Europe required assurance against resurgent Germany, or in the United States view, an economically strong, rearmed and integrated Europe as a vital to prevent of communist expansion across the continent. Communist ideology emerged from Soviet Union, while capitalist ideology was supported by the United States of America. Both ideologies are pole apart in terms of their aim and purpose. Secretary of State Mr. George Marshall proposed a program of large-scale economic aid to Europe. The resulting European Recovery Program, or Mr. Marshall Plan, not only facilitated European economic integration but promoted the idea of shared interest and cooperation between the United States and Europe. Soviet refusal to participate in the Marshall's Plan, or to allow its satellite states in Eastern Europe to accept economic assistance, helped to reinforce the growth division between East and West in Europe. And why the NATO existence, and why NATO play a major back-end role in this war. The North Atlantic Territory Organization, or NATO, that is caught in the eye of the Russia-Ukraine storm, was eyed to play a significant role in preventing the conflict and deter war and need. Truth to be known that neither Ukraine or Russia is a member of NATO, but yet the organization is thought to be behind the crisis. NATO, its role and its ineffectiveness is protecting Ukraine, that has been wanting to be a part of the organization for more than a decade, are seen as a catalyst for the Russian invasion. few points we have to understand. Russia-Ukraine crisis and the role of NATO here. Why Russia is invading Ukraine and what does NATO have to do with it? Here, everything you know to need to know about the NATO's role in ongoing Russia-Ukraine crisis. Uh, why is Russia invading Ukraine? In brief, it's very large, but I summarize the things. Russia believes Ukraine in moving closer and closer to the West via both the NATO or North Atlantic Territory Alliance and the European Union. Ukraine is not a member of NATO but has cooperated with the alliance and frequently expressed its intention to sign up. Second, what is NATO political and military stand on war and peace? NATO promotes democratic value and enable members to consult and cooperate on defense and security related issues to solve problems, build trust and in the long run prevent conflict. Third one, NATO is committed to the peaceful resolution of disputes. If diplomatic efforts fail, it has the military power to undertake crisis management operations. These are carried out in cooperation with other countries and international organizations. Next one, what are Ukraine-NATO relations like? Ukraine has repeatedly stated its intention to become a NATO member. Ukraine applied for a NATO membership action plan in 2008. However, its plans were scrapped in 2010 after pro-Russian leader Mr. Viktor was elected as a president. He stated that he preferred to keep the country non-aligned. Mr. Viktor fled the country in 2014 following civil unrest. His ouster triggered an invasion by Russian forces that led to Putin annexing the Crimean Peninsula. The next point we think there are key members for NATO. NATO founded in 1949. That time only 12 members are there. At present, NATO has 30 members. Next, why Russia dislikes NATO? It's a very major point. Joining NATO will boost Ukraine defensive strength manifold, and so Russia wants an assurance in neighbor will never be allowed to become a part of the alliance. Further, Russia does not want NATO and Western countries to expand its future influences in that area. Mr. Putin claims NATO broke an agreement bearing expansion, but NATO has snubbed these claims. How is Russia involved in the Russia-Ukrainian crisis? We just think about it. How is NATO involved in the Russia-Ukraine crisis? Ukraine is not a member of NATO, but the alliance is a key player in the ongoing conflict with Russia. Their forces are not going to Europe to fight in Ukraine, but to defend NATO alliance and reassure those alliance in the East. US President Joe Biden said during an address a couple of weeks back. We stand in solidarity with the Ukrainian people and its government. Allies are united in their full support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized border. We will continue to provide Ukraine with strong political support, and allies are providing equipment to help Ukraine defend itself as well as sustain financial support, that NATO said. The next point come out from all this, how the US and its allies can help Ukraine without starting World War III. It is very tough needle to thread, but there is a way to make the West Ukraine strategy work. Across the world, political leaders and ordinary citizens have condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine. At the same time, there seems to be basically no chance that the United States or any other major world power would send its troops to fight on the Ukrainians' behalf, for the simple reason that doing so could possibly lead to a wider war and even nuclear conflict. The question then becomes, when can America and its allies do if they continue to rule out direct intervention in Ukraine and Russia? The answer is quite a lot, much of which, though by not mean all, is being done already. The basic Western strategy has been to make the war more painful for Putin, supply the Ukrainians with weapons while imposing crippling sanctions on the Russian economy. These measures are designed to shift Mr. Putin's cost benefit analysis, making the war costlier enough that he will look for some kind of exit. In broad stroke, experts says around the world, it's a sound strategy, one that can still be escalated, albeit within certain bounds. So we must have to understand this point. The West